I just loved dressing up. I just loved yelling out the commands. I was just relishing every moment. And thank you
Welcome to
so much.
Dial M for Movies. We are a film and TV podcast based in Toronto. My name is Khadija. This is my co-host Olivia. It's such a pleasure to chat with you
Khadija and
today.
Olivia, too
Yes,
wonderful to meet you guys. Kia ora,
thank
we
you.
say in New Zealand. Kia ora.
Kia ora. I love that. Before we begin today, there's a scene in which your character Lee asks Carl Urban's character, "How was your mind?" So I want to start off by asking Tamora, "How was your mind today?"
How was my mind today? It's a little fuzzy this morning. I got to Los Angeles the other day. I'm still a little bit on New Zealand time, but my
Yeah.
mind is clearing as the interviews go on today, and trying to recall stuff from the movie is a wonderful experience because it was such a wonderful experience, a wonderful time for me. I wasn't quite sure, but after meeting Frank Flowers for the first time, we really bonded. We really connected on a brotherly Yaman kind of connection. Sometimes in life you meet people and straight away you know you like them. You perceive this this person's coming from a real nice place, and I want to hop on board his ship and be part of this. And that's what he gave me on our initial contact. So again, what a wonderful experience. Wonderful working with Frank in terms of where he was coming from. He wanted a little bit more grit, telling me about the real Buccaneers. Ooh, it must have been a wild and dangerous time.
Yeah.
Looking at some of the photographs of old and just sort of coming up with something a little bit more fresh, something with a little bit more loyalty and universal themes, especially between the captain and myself being the disciplinary quartermaster kind of guy. Again, I drew a lot on my own ancestors. I know a lot of within our Maori from New Zealand, Aotearoa, New Zealand. We had a number of our ancestors traverse the oceans. Some of them would just would make their way out on their canoes, jump onto a ship. Sometimes the captain would get his men and try and throw him off. And sometimes they'd put up a fight and end up staying on the ship. They'd probably transfer ships on places like Tahiti, the Mauritius. So it was well known that in Polynesia, a lot of our people would get off the islands and jump on a ship, very much like the Caribbean, very much like the Cayman Islands. So, man, so you could end up with a crew of international people coming from the four corners, from coming from the four winds of the earth, where you all meet, and then all of a sudden you're on an adventure, on a journey, which was very much like this film.
I was going to ask, do you have any common ground or shared spirit between your own heritage and the story being told here? And I guess you do, and
Yeah.
that's really amazing.
Yes, and I made sure to read a lot about some of our ancestors that sailed. For example, some of our chiefs went to England and they'd never seen a horse. Never seen a horse before. And then they realized there were so many more. So from a little old country from New Zealand going all the way to England, I'm talking about early 18th century, 1820s and before that, they never had a musket. One of our chiefs went over there and realized there was a king. And so must have got it in his head that when he gets home and trades all these goods for muskets, he could possibly become the king of New Zealand. So yeah, there were all these parallels. Again, I was using that just to say that hey, Maori warrior could end up on a ship, and yeah, so I drew a lot on that, and just but again, working with Frank, this was a story where there was an international, a lot of sailors that have just come together through thick and thin, through other kind of incidences, and so yeah, just to settle in that believability thing with us actors. So again, I knew Carl, and Carl's another Kiwi, another New Zealander who's made his way into the galaxy, who's made
Yeah.
his way to Hollywood, who's become a leading man. I always respect that. I respect the fact that we come from a small country, New Zealand, and here we both are sailing on the ship. So I just admire his tenacity, and coming from, I just think sometimes the odds are a little bit more against us when we have these dreams to come to Hollywood, and there I am standing alongside my great friend Carl as his quartermaster. So I was very proud at time. Sometimes there's just no act. It's nice to get into a place where there's no acting required.
Yeah.
We're just
Yeah.
playing out the scene. We're just being and we're just playing along, and Frank's our real captain, guiding us, navigating us through the seven seas. So it very much felt like that, even though we're on a studio and on a boat that wasn't actually sailing, but the camaraderie.
It's incredible to see you and Carl in this movie together. And I know so many fans fell in love with you through your very quiet, calculated intensity with Django Fett. And in The Bluff, your character, Lee, also operates within this very dangerous, high stakes world. Do you find yourself drawn to roles that kind of rely on that more quiet, powerful presence rather than a lot of dialogue to kind of show how dangerous a character really can be?
Yeah, I'm glad you picked up on that. That was my big problem when I was filming Boba Fett. I said, this guy's talking too much. Isn't
Yeah.
isn't isn't the quiet guy more dangerous? It's just the
Yeah.
guy that can just say everything with a look or two. And sometimes that's more powerful. So
Yeah.
thank you for your compliment as well. There was a compliment in that question you were
Of
giving
course.
me. But sometimes, yeah, Carl, it was quite funny, I must say, because Carl's quite a subtle actor too, you know. He only moves an eyebrow or two. He must have learned from all these old actors like the Morgan Freemans and the Clint Eastwood. I'm a Clint Eastwood fan too, but sometimes I found myself trying to be more, trying to out subtle. I don't know, trying to do less. I guess I'm trying to say because sometimes they say less is more powerful, less is best. They say so, and Carl's so
That's true.
minimal too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was having great fun. But I'd always try to give a little bit more energy, just a little bit more. I don't know, just come in with a bit more energy, a bit more gung ho. And then I realize he's going in another direction. So I'm not quite sure about some of his decisions. So I'm starting to question them a little myself. So yeah, I'm glad that came through in a little way.
Just wanted to
Yeah.
ask if you had a favorite pirate film or book in your memory and how that may have influenced your performance.
Oh, gee, I think I started to think about those. Oh no, those original movies about the whale. What was the white whale? What was that movie? Those
Moby
kinds
Dick?
of things. Huh?
Moby Dick?
Moby Dick, yeah. And there was a character in that film with a funny name, like a Polynesian guy too, Polynesian warrior. It was very much like the Quartermaster Lee as well. Geez, I've just forgotten his name. But yeah, that was the kind of thing. I started to think about a little bit like Moby Dick, but that's showing my age a bit, I think. Yeah. Mutiny on the Bounty. There were things like that. Remember the Mel Gibson? Even Marlon Brando did one, didn't he? In the Tahiti, in the way where he fell in love with Tahiti. Brando, that was the old Mutiny on the Bounty, I think. But yeah, I just love dressing up. I just loved yelling out the commands. I was just relishing every moment. My great director Frank would always give me a line. Would say, bring some sauce," which meant bring the performance and a little bit more relish. So I always try and come up with a little bit more, and that was our thing with me and the director. Bring some sauce, like bring some ketchup.
It's great.
I love
You
that.
know what I
That's a
mean?
great
You got
note
to
to
bring
end
the meat,
on.
you got to bring the sausage, and then you got to add a little bit of sauce on top just to give it a bit of relish.
Now I'm hungry. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure talking to you, Tamora.
I feel like a hot dog too now, actually. Yeah. Thank you so much, you guys.